Alright, what is up guys, Tick here, and I thought I would bring you a video discussing Criminal Activity, which is Battlefield Hardline's brand new shiny DLC, which released last week for everybody. It was a little bit earlier if you had premium, but it is now available to everybody, hello, in the public. So now everyone is able to pick it up and join. I thought I would talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, whether I think this is a good purchase for you, and then maybe discuss a little bit about Battlefield Premium, the subscription service for this particular content as well, because I know some guys are having a few questions about that too. So, as far as the DLC package goes, it works pretty much the standard. Oh, you and your spam cannon. It works pretty much the same way as most typical Battlefield DLCs work. You get a couple maps, a game mode or two, gadget or two, a vehicle or two. All that kind of fits in with Criminal Activity. You get 4 maps. This is one of them called Backlot. It is some sort of forestry industry thingy-majiggery, which is probably like my favorite map of the DLC pack. There's one map that takes place in a shopping mall called Black Friday. There's one map that takes place in like an apartment complex called The Beat, which is in my opinion what the block should have been. And then there's also a oh, my shot is off right now. There's also like a nightclub map called Cold Blue. 3 of the maps I really like. I really like this one. I really like The Beat, and I also really like Black Friday as well. I'm not really a big fan of the Cold Blue map. The reason being, it is a pretty easily a reflection of a nightclub, which means that the whole thing is like really dark, and particularly the central areas of the map, it can be really difficult to sort of pick out your enemies in amongst all like the neon and green lights and the dark colors and all that kind of stuff. So that can be a little bit of a problem for me, especially with my kind of stupid aggressive play style that I always kind of like to play with. Kind of gets me in a lot of trouble in that particular map. So that one is I'm not really a big fan of, but the other 3 I actually really like. Well, I think they're well designed maps. I think the maps play really well on both Conquest and Blood Money, which are obviously the 2 of the most popular game modes associated with this particular game. So I think automatically when you can have you can have a game of maps that are playing well on your 2 signature game modes. I think you've done a pretty good thing. There's a sniper out here somewhere. Yeah, the maps are good. They play well on some of the core game modes. The other thing that I like are actually the weapons. So I'm using one of them right now, which is the FAL. It's a good weapon, though. That's really where the FAL really excels. I don't know what my teammate was doing behind that guy, but whatever. The FAL and the SG-510 are 2 battle rifles for the Enforcer class in this DLC. There's also a couple of shotguns that the Enforcer gets as well. I'm not really a big shotgun guy, so I can't really comment as to how they play, but if you're someone who's a fan of the KSG-12 shotgun that you've seen in sort of previous other shooters and whatnot, and KSG makes a return in this game. I'm not really sure how good or bad it is, but I'm not the best person to ask regarding shotguns. You also get the M1A1 Tommy gun, which is a all-kit weapon. So any kit can use it. It's a Tommy gun. It's fun to use, kind of gimmicky, but it's actually like very average. It's not actually all that effective at all, which kind of makes sense for an all-kit weapon. I mean, you don't want to give every kit like a super strong, overpowered weapon, and all of a sudden all of your vanilla base guns go completely out to lunch. But the weapons are good. I mean, the one that I'm using right now, the FAL and the SG-510, are very good weapons. They feel like they're actually worth the price of the DLC. Sometimes you get DLC models where the DLC weapons aren't actually all that good. I guess they kind of don't want to turn this thing into a pay-to-win type of deal. But you know, someone who has invested in DLC, someone who's invested into premium, you know, I very much appreciate the fact that we've got some. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. But it's nice that we have some decent looking and decent playing weapons as well. Like these weapons play out really, really well. They're a lot of fun to use. The FAL is excellent. The SG-510 might be even better than the FAL. But yeah, it's nice that we got some good weapons in this particular DLC, and then we get something gimmicky like the M1A1. So if anybody ever wants to kind of goof around and have fun, the Tommy gun kind of goes in line with the overall tone and I guess style of this game. One that doesn't really take itself too seriously. It kind of prioritizes being kind of fun and goofy and silly over being just super realistic. Where the hell am I? I've never spawned in here before. Yeah, that is what I like. What else I like is I really like the gadget that they've included in this particular DLC. It is called the Tactical Toolkit, which is available to the Enforcer class as well. And what the Tactical Toolkit does is it allows you to interact with objectives much quicker. So if you are someone who plays a lot of Conquest, you can cap flags quicker using the Tactical Toolkit. I think a lot of people have already found out that using the Tactical Toolkit on Blood Money is probably where you get the most value out of that particular gadget. My shot is a little off right now. But yeah, if you played Blood Money standard and you try and kind of interact with money and whatnot, you'll notice that sometimes... Is that a knife? It wasn't a knife. You'll notice that the faster you pick up Blood Money, kind of faster when there's maybe 4 or 5 people interacting with the particular objective point. The Tactical Toolkit kind of puts you in the position of having 2, 3, 4 people on the money pile with you. You can take money ridiculously fast with that. It's actually quite hilarious. And when you have a couple people on that thing with the toolkit, you can just drain an enemy, drain an enemy's cash really, really quickly. So it's a lot of fun to use. I think the reason why I like it so much is because it's finally a gadget in the game that kind of prioritizes objective play. You know, I mean, a lot of these DLC packs, and it's not just restricted to Battlefield, but a lot of other shooters do this too. And what ends up happening is, you get content that really favors the high KD players, the big body count players, those kind of people, and not so much the guys that play the objectives. So it's nice to see that those kind of people are being rewarded with the Tactical Toolkit, because I think objective players are pretty important when it comes to Battlefield series as a whole. Yeah, let's keep the angle grip on. So I like the weapons, I like the maps, I like the gadgets that they've included as well. Trip mine, nice. Shot is a little off tonight. Let's talk about a couple of things that I don't really like about this DLC. After I deal with this pesky little scumbag. Yeah, you kind of deserve that, bud. Kind of deserve that. What I don't really like about this DLC is that the Enforcer gets a lot of love. All of the weapons, with the exception of the Tommy gun. Thought I could dodge him. All the weapons in the game, the new weapons in the game, with the exception of the Tommy gun, all go to the Enforcer class. So the Enforcer gets 2 new battle rifles and 2 new shotguns. It's quite clear what they're doing. I think they are. This obviously there's I thought I had shot him right on, but I guess not. It's quite clear what they're doing. I think they've announced 4 DLCs for this game, and I think that each DLC is gonna kind of correspond to supporting one class. You know, if you're someone who doesn't play the Enforcer class, and there are a lot of people who do not play the Enforcer class, I think you're kind of shit out of luck with this DLC. The Enforcer class, I believe statistically they said a couple weeks ago that I think only 11% of the total player base on this game plays the Enforcer class. So not very many at all actually play this class. I think the new weapons and new gadgets kind of mean that the Enforcer class should be given a shot by a lot of people. I do think it's worth it now. But if you're a fan of some of the other kits in the game, the other classes in the game, you're very much shit out of luck when it comes to this particular DLC. Which is a bit of a shame. Like, I've always liked the idea of having, you know, all of your classes supported. Typically when you look at DLCs from previous Battlefield games, They kind of support all of the classes. You get a couple of SMGs, a couple of assault rifles, carbines, sniper rifles, whatnot. So it's a little bit of a disappointment that they have decided to focus so heavily on just one particular class with this DLC. I might need to take their angle grip off. Doesn't look like it's helping me very much here. I mean, for me, I love playing as the enforcer. I love playing as the as the mechanic and the engineer as well, and the operator. So for those classes not to really get much love in this DLC is a little bit of a letdown for me. Particularly when you consider Hardline, one of the Hardline's biggest issues is just a lack of overall content. There's not too many. There's not a great variety of weapons in this particular game. So a lot of people, I'm sure, including myself, are kind of hoping that DLC 1 kind of help deal with that issue a little bit, and I don't really think it's done enough to address that particular issue, which is a little bit of a shame, but it is what it is. And the ammo guy's about to run out of ammo.
Who needs ammo?
I wish they would have supported some of the other classes as well. I much prefer that sort of style, that sort of method, as opposed to the kind of focusing each individual content package towards a particular class. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. But one of the things that I do not like about this is the signature game mode, which is the one I'm playing right now, which is Bounty Hunter, which, if you've been paying attention, looks a lot like Kill Confirmed because it is Kill Confirmed. Bounty Hunter essentially is Kill Confirmed, which is a bit of a letdown. You know, when a lot of people, including myself, heard that the new DLC was called kind of Criminal Activity, and then the new game mode was called Bounty Hunter. I don't know what he was up to. He should have had me. I think a lot of people were kind of excited about the potential, particularly with the way they've kind of handled the cops versus criminals sort of in fiction theme of the game. I for one was really, really excited to see where they were going to go with it, and then to get to such a generic sort of game mode that we've seen before in other shooters like Call of Duty, and for it not to really expand on sort of the in-fiction between the cops and criminals is a big letdown. I mean, you look at game modes like Blood Money, you look at game modes like Rescue and Crossfire, whatever it's called. You start talking about game modes that I think you start talking about game modes that really fit the in-fiction of the cops versus criminal theme really well. I don't really know how Kill Confirmed does. It just doesn't really work for me all that well. Which is a shame. Like, I wish they had kind of taken the effort to extend the... Am I stuck? What am I stuck on? To extend the lore a little bit, to extend the... Not the lore, sorry, the in-fiction. The theme a little bit. They didn't really wrestle with much of it at all, which is a bit of a letdown for me. But, I mean, they could come up with something later on. We'll just have to wait and see. Get wrecked, buddy. We'll have to see what they come up with later on, but overall, that's my big letdown with this particular DLC, is that the weapons only really focus on the Enforcer class, and the game mode isn't all that interesting or new, or indeed really fitting with the theme of the game either. So overall in this DLC, I like the maps, I like the weapons. I don't like the fact that the weapons are only restricted to one class, and I'm not really a big fan of the game mode either. Would I recommend the DLC? I think it pretty much comes down to whether or not you are someone who plays Hardline a lot. If you're someone who plays Hardline a lot, if you're someone who enjoys Hardline like myself, then I think this is a pretty good DLC package for you. I think there's a lot in here that that you can enjoy. I think there's a lot in here that kind of furthers, what's already in the game. I think it's very much more of the same. So if you're someone who's enjoying what Hardline offers you, I think you'll enjoy this DLC. If, however, you're relying on Hardline to maybe refresh your Battlefield experience, maybe you've played Hardline for a little while. Let's try the Tommy gun? Yeah, let's try the Tommy gun. If you're looking at Hardline as a game that can maybe extend your experience, enhance your experience, give you something brand new, refresh, and kind of bring you back to the game, I'm not really sure that this DLC does that for you, to be completely honest. It very much is more of the same, which is fine for some people, which could be particularly problematic for other people, but I think it really comes down to taste. If you're someone who's enjoying Hardline, I think you'll enjoy this DLC. What the hell? Where did that nade come from? if you're someone who's really enjoying it, I think you'll enjoy the DLC. If you're someone who isn't enjoying it, then I think that you're pretty much going to find the same experience with this particular content package as well. I don't think it does really enough to bring new people into the game or bring returning players who have maybe been jaded with the experience back, which is a little bit disappointing. But it might be more of a case of holding far too high expectations on DLC more than anything else. Let's talk a little bit about premium though before we head off, because I think there's been an interesting discussion about premium regarding particular DLC and whether premium is worth it and whether it's a good investment or not. Thank you, teammate. In my opinion, at this particular moment, no, it's not. And the reason I say that is because I don't think, first of all, this DLC is mind-blowing. Tommy gun has a lot of recoil. It's not very good at. Yeah, I don't think the content package is excellent, particularly right now. So I'm not sure I would encourage people buying premium for the sake of this particular DLC right now. I think I would much rather encourage people to buy the DLC individually. You know, so if you don't have this DLC but you're looking for more content surrounding Hardline, then I think that you'd be essentially better off maybe just buying this pack individually for $15. The other thing about the Hardline DLC is the Hardline Premium, sorry, is we were promised a lot. We were promised a ton of stuff that we haven't gotten yet. We were promised a gun bench, which is sort of like this hyper gun customization thing, which we really haven't seen much of, or really at all. We've been given such little information about what actually is in the gun bench that it's kind of disappointing. Keeping in mind that this is something that, you know, I purchased with premium, you know, several months ago. Fantastic spawn, by the way. Thanks, Visceral. The gun bench, there is exclusive masks, there is various different competitive game ladders that they promised us as well. And at this particular moment in time, none of that stuff is actually in the game, which is really a bit of a letdown, because obviously this is something that we paid for. These are features that we thought we were going to get, and we haven't got them yet, and we are 3-4 months out of launch, and there really is zero sign that any of that stuff is on the way, which is kind of concerning to me. Just last week I went back onto the Battlelog forums, which are the official Battlefield forums, and you know, I posted up an inquiry there asking, you know, if anyone knew any information about, you know, when the content was going to drop or anything like that, and if it was near, and I couldn't even get a, you know, wait a few minutes or anything like that. I just got a very simple shutdown of my thread. The mods came in and just shut down my thread for basically asking, you know, where the content that I was promised is. So that is very, very discouraging. And then on top of that, the lead multiplayer designer, Thaddeus Sasser, who's someone I follow or followed on Twitter, he actually shut down his Twitter account sometime last week. Triple, there we go. That's better. He shut down his Twitter account last week, presumably because he was getting so many questions about the premium content that we haven't really received yet. So I don't know what's going on. Kind of feels like a farce right now, to be completely honest with you. The stuff that we were promised we haven't gotten. This is, if I stay alive, I was gonna grab the nail gun. That's one of the new pickups with the DLC, but I just missed it out there on the left where I died. They're so coy on information, and people are shutting down their Twitter accounts because they don't have answers, and I just, you know, we don't know where that content is. We don't know what the hell has happened to it. It really is a disappointment, so I'm not really sure I would encourage you guys to make that investment. I just don't think it's worth the money right now. Could it be later on down the line? Sure, maybe, right? I mean, who's to say like the next few pieces of content isn't excellent stuff that everybody wants and is totally worth it and all that jazz, but at this particular moment in time, I just don't think it's worth the investment right now. The other thing that is worth keeping in mind now too is we are getting towards the end of summer, so I think one more DLC pack is coming out for this game before the summer is officially out, and then we're into Q4. And we all know, based on our E3 experience over the last couple of weeks, that Q4, especially for the Xbox One, looks absolutely fantastic. We're gonna get Halo, we're gonna get Gears of War, we're gonna get nice spawns like this. We're gonna get Tomb Raider, then you have your third-party stuff like your, your Call of Duties, your Battlefronts, those sorts of things. So there's a lot of games coming out, and even someone like me who's a huge fan of the Battlefield series, someone who has really played Battlefield as, my primary game for the last little while. I didn't even know I could get up there. It's kind of cool. I think you look at this and you think realistically, just how much Battlefield am I going to be playing over the next little while? And with that in mind, am I going to be in a position where, paying essentially for content, if you're buying premium, you're buying essentially for DLC content, DLC packages. Does that actually make any sort of sense whatsoever? If you're going to be moving on to other games. That's something to keep in mind too. I think with all of the great games coming out in December, I think with the issues that Premium is having right now, and the question marks about just where the hell the content we were promised is, I don't really think Premium is a good value proposition right now. So my recommendation would be obviously to wait and see what you can get, more than anything else. So just to wrap things up, I think the DLC is good. I think the DLC is fun. I think it's more of the same. So if you're someone who's really having a fun time with Battlefield Hardline, I think you're going to enjoy this content. For someone who's looking for the content to really freshen things up for you, I think you're going to be slightly disappointed, and I would probably advise you not to pick it up. The maps are good, the guns are good, the game mode is very lame, and the fact that we don't have any, did he die? There he goes. And the fact that we don't have any love for some of the other classes is a huge letdown for me too. So that's where I stand on it. I'm happy with the purchase. I just wish there was a little bit more in here. And then with Premium, I would probably suggest that if you haven't bought it, don't bother buying it. I just don't think it's a good value proposition right now. So that's my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found this somewhat informative. This guy's tag gets in the way of my shot. Let me know what you guys are planning with DLC with Battlefield Hardline. Let me know if you guys are picking up Premium, or if you have Premium, how you feel you guys are finding it as a value proposition. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm completely out to lunch? Let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.